morning, and I already see a question pop on the screen. That's awesome. Yes, there is a worksheet that goes with today, and it is your planning guide. And I think that gets loaded in at 9:30 this morning Mountain Time, so that is in about 30 minutes. And the planning guide we're going to talk about this morning. But my first question, as everyone chimes in here. My first question is, how many of you got to spend some time thinking of that ideal avatar? And I'm hoping that you even went as far as drawing or cutting out a picture of your ideal avatar, because it is that important for us to make sure we're writing for the right reasons. Because as today we get into talking about planning for your blog, sometimes we get caught up in the SEO aspects and we get caught up in the who are we writing for? We're not really writing for Google. And yet sometimes we get off track a little because we're trying to just attract traffic to our blog. We want to remember that we want to attract the right people to our blog, not just lots of people. And I have a funny story to share about that. Is one blog post I wrote, oh gosh, probably 4 or 5 years ago, but it was a blog post on how our team, we have a team of community managers, and their job is to go out and build the social community, post content, write content, monitor, do customer service through the social media channels. Well, we were laughing at one of our team meetings how they're a lot like Magnum PI, which is kind of funny that that show is coming back out. Magnum PI. I just saw a commercial for it. But we said our team is a lot like Magnum PI because they had to be kind of private investigators, and they were going to the sites where there were conferences that our clients might be speaking at or attending or exhibiting. And then we would then find somebody else who was an influencer at that conference, and we'd find out all about them and follow people that they follow. And we said, it's just funny how we're kind of like little private investigators. So I wrote this blog post called How a Community Manager is a Lot Like Magnum PI. And I even had a picture of the big mustached face character. And so the funny thing was it attracted a ton of traffic. I got tons of traffic. It had great Google stats, but the wrong people. It was attracting the wrong people. It was attracting people who were searching Magnum PI. And somehow, I guess they didn't read the little meta description under the title of the blog post, but they were coming to our site because of the words Magnum PI. So when we talk about planning your blog, you want to plan and be specific, and you want to be strategic with that. And so the worksheet that I have for you today, your planning guide, we're going to talk about how you can do a little work before you even start writing to make sure that your blog gets more of the right traffic. Now, if you're planning an editorial calendar and you plug in topics each week into your editorial calendar, these are topics that you want to write about so that you can get ahead of the game and really start gathering research, then you're going to be doing this planning at that time, because you may have a topic in mind, but then the planning part that helps you make sure that you're getting traffic to that blog has to do with, what is the title of this blog going to be? Now, some people know the title before they write the blog. I tend to write the blog and the title comes out. However, just like I mentioned with the Magnum PI story, sometimes our titles are catchy and cute, but they're not really strategic. So I want you, in this planning sheet, there's a place for you to put your title, the title. And I always recommend people choosing at least 2 titles so that you can run them through and test your titles. And in this planning guide, I've got some links in there for you to make sure that you can run the titles through, and there's title analyzers, and I think it's through Copyblogger, and they will have, or CoSchedule, maybe it's CoSchedule's analyzer, and you can put your title in and it'll give you a score to see, does it hook emotionally with people to draw them in? And so you'll want to come up with your titles and then run those through your title analyzer. Then you want to start thinking of, what are the keywords I want to be found by? What are the keywords that your ideal avatar that we talked about yesterday, what the pain that your avatar, I say avatar and I always think of a video game or the movie Avatar. So your ideal customer might be a better term, but what are the terms that your ideal customer is going to their computer with? Because your ideal consumer has some sort of pain or they have a desire, a problem that they want to solve. And they go to their keyboard and they type in a question or a keyword or a set of keywords, a phrase, and they're typing in something to solve their pain. You have to think that way so that you can come up with the keywords that your ideal person is typing into the search engines, whether it's Google, Bing, what have you. So you're going to come up with a list of keywords so that when you're writing your post, you want to make sure you're using those keywords naturally in your writing. Again, if we were writing for Google, then we would do like the old days where we just stuffed keywords. You'd see 3 keywords in a sentence and it was just stuffing it. It didn't even read conversationally. It just was a keyword driver, because in the old days, that's how you got traffic to a website. Well, today we want to write for humans. We want to write for our ideal avatar. And to do that, we want to have our keywords in mind, but then start writing conversationally and weave those keywords in. And what I typically do is I have my keywords in mind. I will write the post, but then I even go back the first draft, the first look through. I will see, are there other places I can weave my keywords in? And as a matter of fact, when we start, there's another day in our challenge, we're going to talk about the numbers. How many characters should you have in a title, and how many words should we have in a blog post? And the closer you can have a keyword to the front of your title of your blog post, the more ideal. So again, sometimes it's not possible because then it doesn't sound right, or it doesn't make sense. But the closer it can be, it doesn't have to be the first word. So knowing your keywords ahead of time can help you plan as you write conversationally. Now, the third step is, what are the questions you are answering? And if you, again, you're sitting across from your ideal avatar, this person that needs your help, and what are the questions that they would ask you about this topic? Write down those questions so that as you begin to write, you really focus on answering their questions, solving their problem, easing their pain. And so writing those questions ahead of time will really be a benefit to you. Now, after you start writing, you want to also comb through your blog, your website, other content that you have, and say, are there other places within my blog, or as I'm getting ready to write this post, do I have some other content that's similar enough that I might want to link back to it? So building internal links into your blog post will make your blog more rich, because people not only spend time reading this post, but they click and go and read additional content. So they're spending more time on your site, which helps Google see that your site is worthy of coming up in a higher search ranking. So when you have internal links, it's keeping people on your site longer. It's helping them go deeper into your site, so they're exploring and finding other content. It doesn't necessarily have to be an older blog post. It could be something on your website, some content on one of your pages that explains in more detail a word or phrase you just wrote about. So having some of those internal links in mind ahead of time. If I know I'm writing about Facebook, well, what other posts do I have about Facebook? If I know I'm writing about, I don't know, if I'm writing about how much water a person should be drinking throughout the day on a fitness blog, then I can go through my website and blog content to see what other posts do I have that talks about hydration. And I might want to link back to that later on. Now the next step would be to think of, are there external links? Are you going to quote any sources? Do you have some research that you're going to need to pull into your blog post? And so you would make sure you're linking. We have a team of bloggers on our team. And I'm always saying, you can't just make a statement without having a source. Where did you get that Where did you get that fact or that study? Because someone is going to ask. Never fails. Someone will ask about where you got that content. So having those sources and research to draw on while you write your blog helps you write your post faster, just having some of those ahead of time. And obviously, as you write, you might think of something else you want to pull in, and you'll have to research it at that time and pull that information in. But that's good to have in your planning as you go. Now, the next thing would be lead magnets or content upgrades. Some people call them a content upgrade because it's maybe a way to go deeper. So for example, if this Facebook Live were a blog post, which it could be, if it were a blog post, then I would say, I have a content upgrade for you. And that is click on this box and you're going to have a worksheet that goes with it. During this challenge, we're putting most of the worksheets right here in Facebook in our group. So you don't have to do that. But if this were a written blog post, I could have a graphic or a box that says, click here to download your worksheet. So again, as I'm planning my post, is there a possibility that I could have a content upgrade or a lead magnet that I create right now? I can have somebody help me with that, or I can create that after I write the post. Or maybe I already have. If you've got a content inventory, and this is a really smart thing to have, is a list of all lead magnets that you have in your back pocket. Do you have ebooks already? Do you have tip sheets written? Do you have white papers? Do you have a webinar that you did in the past? And if it's on this topic, well, that probably can be kind of brushed off and gussied up a little bit to match the branding on this post so that becomes your content upgrade or lead magnet for this particular post. So thinking of that as you start to plan, and you may say, oh, I have no idea if I would have a lead magnet yet for this topic. And that's okay. You might think of it ahead, you might think of it after, but there's a slot there for you to keep that in mind, because a lot of you are looking at, how do I build my email list to, using my blog? Well, this is the way to do it. Sometimes we think building our list is just about slapping a box on the side of our website saying, sign up for my blog or sign up for my newsletter. Think about how many people want another email. None of us want more email, but all of us want more great content that can help us solve a problem. So content upgrades or lead magnets to me are brilliant because you're solving a problem. You're giving something of value, which is the key to a lead magnet. There are some people that tell me, well, here's my lead magnet. And I look at it, I go, this is just a pitch for your business. There's no value here for me except telling me about what you do. And so a lead magnet has to be something of value in order for me to feel okay to exchange my email address for. Keep that in mind as you're creating lead magnets. We'll go into that more on the day we talk about lead magnets, but that's really important. And then ask yourself, who will write this blog post? On most of us, it's us. Who will write this post? Will it be you? Are you going to have a guest writer for this particular topic? Who might you have in mind maybe to even collaborate with? Maybe you have somebody help provide some content on one side of the topic and you're providing content on another side of the topic so that it makes a really great blog post. So give some thought to who you want to bring in at that time. And then what is your date? Not only your published date, but then back that up and what is your date for first drafts are due, even if it's yourself. When do I need this post written by so that I can go back and create all the pieces that go with it? Because one of the other pieces would be your images. So if you know that you have to publish this post by the 15th, then a week or two before that, you want to make sure that you're pulling, and I say a week or two because isn't that the dreamland that we have that much time? It might be the night before you publish it, that you are finding graphics to go with that blog post, or you're pulling your graphics into Canva and you're putting text on them. I try to do that as much as possible, just to customize those graphics to really tie it into your topic. So you might have somebody that helps you do that. It might be you that does that. I love Canva, and I literally have a tab open for Canva every day. Because I'm weaving in those pieces into my posts and whether it's social posts or whether it's blog posts or my podcast images. Canva, it's hard to beat that tool just for quick easy graphics. So those are some of the things I want you to go through on this worksheet. It will be loaded in our group here in just a few minutes. And if you have questions as you go through this, definitely throw your questions out, because that helps us continue to evolve this. If you have questions right now, just from what I was talking about here, throw them into the chat area in the comments, and I will answer those here this morning. So this is day 2 of our blog challenge to get us all blogging more often, but not just more often, but really creating better blogs that draw the right people to our business, that can either convert to business, if that's what our goal is for most people, or to get more engagement. And I think that, again, is what I mentioned in the beginning, is it's not always numbers to our blog. If you had 100,000 people that viewed your blog in a month, how many of them really engaged with you and your brand so that they will return, so that they will share your content, so that they will purchase, products that you develop. It's the engagement that matters. So drawing the right people takes more planning than just slapping up content with a catchy title that attracts the wrong people. Keep Magnum PI in mind. So I hope you guys have a very awesome, productive day. Thanks for joining me this morning, popping in here early. And I see the comment about, and I did find out why that I'm not seeing your names or your images. And it does have to do with, so Barb, if you watch this, Barb, later on, you were right in the sense that it probably has something to do with privacy settings. In Be Live, Facebook now has some restrictions that if it's a closed group, so if the group is an open public group, I can see comments and I can see names and faces. In a closed group, which is so weird because it's our group, I see you when you comment, but in a Facebook Live, because I'm coming through Be Live, it blocks who's here. So I hope that whoever is here, that you have a great day and that you guys are productive and get these blogs going.